How's it going, folks? Stu here. Guess what? We've only gone and just got through January. It was tough. It felt like it was just gonna never end. January's chaos, innit? For everyone, so hope that just didn't destroy you. I spent my January not spending money because I'm a broke boy, and then just sort of being happy that I could breathe out my nose again. But in and amongst the chaos of it all, I did find time to check out some films, so it's that time of the month, my guys. We're gonna go through everything I watched in January. So I do hope you brought your goggles, because my guys, we're going swimming. It's a very shallow month, you don't need the goggles. That's right, January continues the trend of me not having enough time to do the things I enjoy in life. Bit of a calmer one here. Started out strong, I reckon, and then just sort of teetered off a little bit. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You just watch me do maths in real time, my guys. 11 doesn't sound like a whole bunch, does it, when you say it out loud? But listen, it's not about the quantity over here on Stu Talks, it's about the quality. But listen, before we get into those 11 films I done watched, this is the part where I tell you can follow me on Letterboxd like all the cool kids are doing through the link in the description down below. You've already found your way here. I shouldn't have to explain what Letterboxd is, but it's great fun. You definitely should follow me over there. But also, if you want to see this roundup drop your sub feed monthly, then you can subscribe to me. I know, crazy world we live in. And I have some more socials. So everything is in the description below, as well as a 30-day free movie trial for you. Ooh, sneaky. I like to litter the description box with some spice and goodness. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about January. 1st of January, 2023. A special day, because it's the 1st of January. It's New Year's Day. I thought I'd run straight out of the gate screaming in 2023 with a certified banger, The Social Network. Hadn't seen this one for a long time. I don't want to say I always forget that this thing slaps as hard as it does, because at any point in my life, if you ask me, did you think The Social Network slapped? Yes, I know it did. But it is nice rewatching it after a certain period of time and just rediscovering all of its beautiful treasures all over again. First watch of 2023, so why not make it a No Notes Fincher banger? It is a No Notes Fincher banger. I don't know how much better I could put it. Look, David Fincher's one of my favorite directors. That's not a particularly hot thing to say. He's one of everyone's favorite directors. And many people have said many better things about Social Network than I would even begin to attempt to. And all of those people are right. It's so good. It's just such a tight and impeccable screenplay that just never lets up. Every single scene of this thing is like poetry, goddammit. It's all-timer status. Love this thing. 5 stars for The Social Network. A strong old start to 2023, if I may say so myself. It doesn't get stronger than that with 5 stars. But next up I watched a film which had been on my watch list for a while and I sadly missed in cinemas, but it came onto Mubi, so I thought, now's the time. That one is Hit the Road, which is a sort of road trip film, it is a road trip. It's not but you know, it's not like a fun old road trip film. It's quite sad, this thing. Well, not sad, moving. What am I talking about? It's a story of a family traveling to a unknown location to do something unknown. I don't want to say anything, so I don't want to spoil it. I mean, there is a reason, but like you just get thrown into it without knowing at the beginning of this film. So go into it not knowing. A wonderfully tender and subtly bizarre little road trip gem. Yeah, I'd heard really good things about this one, so I wasn't surprised that it was good, but I was surprised at just how bizarre it ended up being. In a really good way. It's a sort of filmmaking which takes itself at its own pace and knows exactly what it wants to do personality-wise and is just doing it. It's got a nice pace that flitters between moments of real quietness and then these moments of kind of hectic family dynamic. Don't want to say too much more, but if you haven't seen Hit the Road, it's definitely worth checking out. It's on Mubi. You can use my free trial code, but for now, 4 old stars for this thing. 4 old stars? They're not old, they're new stars. They're shiny new stars. But I'll tell you what else is shiny. Athena. I watched that next. I'd heard a lot of things about Athena before I'd seen it in terms of it having a really kind of impressive weight to it in a technical visual sense, but for whatever reason this thing just sort of, it was fine. It was an alright film overall. Big technical prowess on display here, but it is begging for deeper characters and themes, the simplicity of which really make the long and immaculately choreographed takes feel a bit repetitive. Yeah, it is an immensely impressive film to sort of watch visually, and there's some long takes in here which are just, it must have been insanely difficult to pull off, so mad respect, an incredible opening oneer that it is amazing. But when you don't have much else going on in the film, it becomes increasingly frustrating that it just falls back onto these impressive long shot takes. It gets very close to doing interesting themes and exploring interesting things, and it's like it's not interested in doing that. But I do think it's trying to. If you bring things up, don't be surprised if your audience are going to want to see those things explored better. I don't think it quite has a narrative, screenplay, and acting chops to really pull off a film which is as amazing and groundbreaking as it might have been able to be. But the cameraman does deserve a raise. 3 stars for Athena. Good stuff, not great stuff. At this point in the month, 3 days in, as I said, I was on quite a good run. Things were going downhill kind of steadily from that 5 to 3 stars now. I needed a bump, you know? I sound like a crack addict in the streets. I need a hit, man. I need a 5-star film. But much like a pregnant woman, that bump did come in the form of Alcaraz. This is another one which I missed at film festivals last year, which I was pretty miffed about, you know? I thought, that looks good. Why did I have to miss it? So I done waited until it come out in cinemas, which it did, and I went and saw it. And listen, this thing was really quite great. A really wonderful, low-key little family portrait, complete sucker for almost documentary-like day-in-the-life filmmaking, so naturally this was right up my street. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this film's gonna be for everyone, but it's absolutely up my street. If you pair sort of introverted, patient filmmaking with great natural performances and just like a really sexy, not sexy, it's not a sexy film at all, but it's a good looking film, cinematography wise is what I'm trying to say there. Look, this film's got a lot going for it. Some people might say it's a film where not a lot happens. I would say it's a film where things do happen. That wrapped up quite easily. 4 stars for Alcaraz. Then I caught another film which I missed last year, and I sort of wish I'd left it that way. It's Smile. This one's a horror film, which I skipped the press screening for last year because, well, it didn't look very good. And it wasn't very good. Don't want to spend too much time on this one. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the film. It's about a sort of possessive demon thing, which takes the form of people you may or may not know in your life and smiles at you until you kill yourself. A fun film. Sosie Bacon gives a committed performance, but that just isn't enough to save this derivative, silly, and unintentionally hilarious horror. Yeah, just everything that gets done in this film has been done before by better horror films. And sometimes that's all right, you know? There's nothing wrong with playing with the rule book that's already there and just having fun with it, but you know, you need some other things going for your film. This film just doesn't have those other things. It's very funny. It's a very on the sleeve sort of analogy for depression and mental health and, here it comes, trauma. But it does all of that in the most obnoxious and obvious way, and I'm not even sure it knows fully how to be that analogy. Bad stuff. Don't want to watch it again. Can't really recommend it. 1.5 stars. Then on the 10th, I caught Megan, or Mithrigan, as you may or may not want to say it. I have a full review for this one, so you can check that in the description below. For now, we'll keep it brief. Cannot believe this didn't suck. Truly cannot believe it. I was ready. I didn't even want to go to the press screening of this thing. If you'd asked me back in December or November, whenever those first trailers started popping up, and people were like, well, this looks like it'll be fun, I didn't want to. I just thought, this looks bad. This doesn't look good. It's coming out in January. It looks bad. And again, it's coming out in January. And also, it looks bad again. Hey, this thing's not bad. It's been long enough now to think back on it, and I do think maybe my rating here was a little generous, but you know what? I logged it on a good day. 3.5 stars for Megan. Then the day after that, we had another press screening, but this one was one which hurt my butt because the film was very long. That was Babylon. This is, of course, the new Damien Chazelle film. If you've been anywhere near Film Twitter over the last few weeks, since it went up on video on demand and people have been getting hold of clips and posting them, I'm so sorry you've had to sit through it all. The entire film's basically up on Twitter in various 30-second chunks of people going, can't believe it didn't get this or this at the Oscars. B, the people that loved this thing are now like, everyone else doesn't get it. And the people that didn't like this film are doing the things that people do when they don't like films. It's frustrating. Not like the internet to ruin things we love and enjoy, is it? He says sarcastically, very, very sarcastically. Guess what? Full review for this one is on the channel. There's a link down there for it if you want to see my full thoughts in more detail. For now, we turn to Letterboxd, as is the nature of this video. Chazelle taking maybe the biggest of swings with a relentless pace, some of which land, some of which really don't. If you'd have stopped me at the 2-hour mark, I'd have told you I loved it. Overall, like this film, I think it's really good, and there's some really amazing stuff in there, mostly in that first 2 hours. Not a fan of the ending at all, but also it just fizzles out and doesn't really know what to do with itself, I think, in the last hour, which is frustrating. Yeah, and frustrating from Chazelle, but has also got a lot of the things which I really love about Chazelle's filmmaking in there. So yeah, good time, definitely recommend it. Just not amazing. 3.5 stars for Babylon. Then on the 13th, I caught up on a film which I've been very excited to check out, which we got later than everyone else, and it's one of the awards contenders this year, so I was just like, please come out. I mean, just hurry up and come out. That one was Tar, the new Todd Field film starring Cate Blanchett. I've done another full review for this one on the channel, so a link is down there if you want to check out my full thoughts. This was one of those films which held up my 2022 list every year because January is a time when we get films late, so I'm always like, they seem like they're going to be in my list. I'll wait for those. This one did end up in the list, very high up, so I'm very glad I did wait for it because God, it's good. Jesus Christ? ? Honestly, every scene of this thing so unbelievably absorbing. I really still can't wait to see it again. So good. Everything is firing on all cylinders from a filmmaking front, but I was just so impressed at how effectively patient Field is as a director in letting things play out the exact way they feel like they need to and without giving us too much information. So engrossing and satisfying for that. Cinema. 4.5 stars, probably soon to be 5 on rewatch. But you know how I mentioned January started strong and started to tail off? We're what? Exactly halfway through the month with this next one, and it's the third from last film I logged in the month. But I watched E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Steven Spielberg's sci-fi classic. I was in the mood for Spielberg because I knew I was going to go check out his new one the week after this, and I just wanted to watch something cozy and good that I love and I know I love on the screen and kick back on a Sunday. E.T. is that film. It is so good and so stunning and so immaculate and so charming and warm-hearted and still holds up. Still just an absolute dream, and I think probably my favorite John Williams score. Is that a hot take? I know that, like, obviously Star Wars and stuff does exist as a score and is an incredible, immaculate score in itself as well, but there's something about this score from John Williams that is just just, there's nothing to say about E.T. that hasn't already been said. It's so good, it's charming, it makes you cry whilst also being this kind of weird, goofy, adorable little alien film. Drew Barrymore's tiny in it. There's so many little details in it that are just so great every time you watch it. It's like watching it for the first time, even though you've seen it hundreds of times before, right? One thing did bug me though, that I feel like I hadn't noticed before. They leave the pizza outside at the beginning. Like when they see E.T. in that little shed, and they drop the pizza that they ordered because they're all quite startled. And the mum's like, no, everyone back inside. They just leave the pizza on the floor outside, you crazy people. A whole pizza. You're telling me you left a whole pizza? 5 stars. That's the return to the 5 stars. We've had it. We started a month with the 5 stars. We had a little, and we're up there now. We're 5 old stars. What a threatening aura I'm bringing to this video. What did we watch after E.T.? We watched... not E.T., but it was a new Spielberg film, The Fabelmans. Again, full review for this one on the channel, link down there if you want to see what I had to say about it. I'd heard a lot of things about this one, namely that it was very good, so my expectations were quite high, and they somewhat delivered pretty much in all regards. It was a really charming, lovely little film. I saw and keep seeing adverts for this one on the buses over here in London, and someone said Spielberg's masterpiece. Huh? How are you gonna make that make sense? Spielberg's masterpiece? As if he hasn't had a few of those already. As if he isn't like the most acclaimed and one of the greatest living directors. This is Spielberg's masterpiece? Huh? Who's writing this review? As if we've all been waiting for Spielberg to do that Spielberg fella, I hope he pulls a masterpiece out of the bag. He's done it already. Just watched one before. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Lovely film. Wonderful, charming, irresistibly sincere in a way that only Spielberg could probably pull off. Also, all-timer cameo. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. 4 stars for The Fabelmans. And then we watched the final film I caught in January. One line, short month. Jessica, which is a very sort of low-key, indie, dark comedy horror gem. I really enjoyed it. I'd missed it at South by Southwest earlier in last year. And it just popped up on digital over here in the UK yesterday. Well, probably not yesterday by the time this gets out. But listen, it was coming out in digital. So I thought, hey, let's check it out. Let's review it. Ended up being a really good time. I have again got a full review for it on the channel if you want to see my full thoughts in a bit more detail for it. But for now, a really charming little dark comedy horror indie that never overstays its welcome. God bless 75-minute runtimes, and uses its offbeat concept free from potential obnoxiousness. Not a film which particularly blew me away, but one which definitely did feel like a worthwhile watch on a nice sort of workday evening. Again, 75-minute runtime. Yes, please. We love a good, tight, under 90-minute film. 3.5 stars for Jessica. And with that, we come to the end of January. But what about you guys? What did you check out in January? No doubt there are going to be a bunch of first-time watches for you, a bunch of new releases you caught, maybe some rewatches of older classics. Let me know whatever you've been watching in the comments down below, and we'll have a little chat. There's a link for my Letterboxd profile down in the description for you to follow me if you do want to, but also you can find my social links as well as a 30-day free trial code for Mubi down there. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me talk about more shit, go ahead and click subscribe. Really helps me out, and also means you don't miss any of these when they do go up every month. But on that note, that's strange. I thought Christmas had already come and gone because we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up the video. I think I need to go. I'm exhausted.